Have you ever thought, I'm raising a monster? As families, we see the worst in each other. It's the one place we feel safest to let go and show how we're really feeling. Home is a place of no filter. But when we see the worst in our children, something happens. We are instantly filled with dread that somehow we've got it wrong. Our worst nightmares have become true, and there's no turning back. Parenting is the opposite to instant gratification. When our children are young, whatever we invest in them, the results, the impact is not seen for many years. We give them the best we can, the best we have at the time. We know there are shortfalls. We keep trying, but is it enough? Did we do a good job? What will our child become? We won't know and can't know for many years. But then it happens. You get a glimpse of how your child is turning out. You see the best of them in public and you see the worst of them at home. At times you can imagine what sort of spouse or parent they will become, and it fills you with dread. At times you see that they've taken on the worst of you or have been impacted by your mistakes, and that causes you to feel sick in the pit of your stomachs. What we really want to do is to create beautiful, loving, caring human beings in the world that will make us proud. When others meet them as adults, it will reflect well on our parenting. In fact, this happened to me just this week. I met an old friend who was telling me that she didn't know how I did it. She met my children in public in their part-time jobs and told me, how do you do it? They're so kind and well-mannered. How did you do it with 5 kids and running your own business? And in this podcast, I'm going to tell you exactly what I did to create this dream result for me and what I do for my clients. But before I do, I'm going to also tell you what you must not do in order to avoid raising nightmares. This is more important because there is something we do as parents that inadvertently creates our worst nightmares in parenting. So it's really important that you understand this and prevent it from happening in your family. So let's get into this. You're going to love today's podcast. Be ready for a complete mind shift. Bismillah. Welcome to the Happy Home Podcast, where we help Muslim mothers create success and happiness in their personal, professional and family life and raise their children as happy, pious and productive Muslims. My name is Sayed-Hossen and I am your host and the founder of the Happy Home Institute. Hey, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to this week's podcast where we're talking about the key to raising your dreams and avoiding creating your worst nightmares. The majority of mothers that come to work with me reach a point where they start not liking who their child is becoming. They see things heading in a really bad direction and they know that they need to intervene somehow and turn things around, turn around their parenting and the way that their child is turning out. And that's why they come for help. Now the great news, my sister, is it's never too late. You'll be happy to know that it's not true that your child's personality is fixed by the age of 7. It is not true that those early years will be your only chance to influence how your child turns out. What is true, and something that you will not hear many experts telling you about because they don't think that you want to hear it, it won't make them popular, or they think that you won't understand it, is actually that your child is a reflection of you. They're going to become the best and worst of you. You know that to be true. You can see it already. Your child will take on their identity from what you say to them. Your child is being molded by you. Now, I know you're not going to run away from that fact because deep down you know it to be true. So you have a choice as a mother. You can either take that information and use it to blame yourself, beat yourself mentally, and give up as a parent. Or you can use it the way that I teach my clients to use it. I teach them to use this to their advantage. I use it to help them see how powerful they really are as mothers. You will be the biggest influencer in shaping your child's character and future. So you have a choice to make. And before I tell you how to do it, you have to choose to take your power and use it for good. Are you in? Are you ready to make the change you want to see? Right, that's great. That's the first step. Making a decision to make changes and not blame yourself and others. Because when we fall into blame, it actually takes away our power to make changes. Blame keeps us stuck. Blame says it's too late, we're here and there's nothing you can do about it. Blame is the most important thing you need to keep away from. What you want to do instead is to start believing in the possibility of change. And that's easy when you remind yourself that with Allah's help, anything and everything is possible. Of course, it's never too late. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the guider of the hearts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a way forward. And this is your way, my sister. So stay away from blame and let's see how we raise our children to become the coolness of our eyes and make our dreams come true. And even if you're listening to this and thinking it's too late, I've already raised a nightmare, I can see who my child is becoming. I will tell you, my sister, no, it is not too late. If a man can kill 99 people, becoming so immune to human morals, then are you telling me that there is no hope for you or your child? Right. Then that's step 2. Now we're in possibility that change is possible. So here's what you need to know. You will get what you intend, what you think will happen. So be careful of what you fear. Let me explain. We all know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where we are told that our actions are based on their intentions. We're also aware of the hadith Qudsi where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am for my servant what they think of me. They will get what they expect. Now let's take this to parenting. If you fear that your child will become a liar, cover up their mistakes with more lies instead of taking responsibility, if this is what you fear will happen because you saw your child do it a few times, then everything about your energy, your body language, your words when you're angry, your harshness when you issue punishments will speak loud and clear that this is what you think of your child. You know, because you say it in the words that you later regret. And then you tell yourself, well, it's good that they know where they're heading so they can do something about it. But my sister, it is actually not good for them to know what you fear, because the human mind of a child actually takes this on in a very different way. Your child is actually likely to think, well, if that's what my mum thinks of me, then that's what I must be. A child takes their identity from what their mothers tell them they are or will become. But here's the problem. When we are angry, we say what our fears are, not our dreams. Now let me repeat that again. A child takes their identity from what their mother tells them they are or will become. But when we are angry, we say what our fears are, not what our dreams are. How many times have you told your child what you fear they will become, rather than what your hopes and dreams for them are? What do they hear the most, especially when you're upset? It's when they think that this is what my mum really thinks of me. This is actually what she really thinks. So this, my sister, is where your power lies to shape your child. But unfortunately, we are not aware that our fears are being created, not our dreams. We are not even aware that sometimes we're even fearing the worst. Yet, we probably spend the majority of our parenting doing that. So for example, if you fear that your child is not going to be strong enough to cope in the world, you will do everything to make it easier for them. You will protect them, shelter them, make allowances for them. The same rules and expectations of your other children will not apply to this child, and as a result, they will end up growing up thinking that they're at a disadvantage and not able to cope with life. They'll think what you think. They might even struggle to face the consequences of their actions because you sheltered them from consequences. You took the consequences. And they might even expect that people should always let them off the hook, as you did. You would also see that they're expecting their mother to do everything for them, because that's what you did. And then when you're not saying or doing the things they want, they get very upset with you, because now there is an expectation that you must make things easier for them, and you're not hard. Is this resonating, my sister? Now, if you have instilled instead in your child that yes, they might have some sort of inherent disadvantage, struggle or need, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give them more than they can cope with, then they will grow up very differently. Can you see the trajectory of that belief? Now let's go to another example. If your child is very challenging and they're quick to say no, they won't be forced, they won't easily accept your authority, and they find fault in everything you do, they criticize you and complain, and they're easily triggered, and your fear that they will become a difficult child that you can't cope with grows and grows. Now can you imagine how less patient you are with them, how frustrated they make you, and how upset you get when they don't listen? You might say things like, why are you so difficult? Why did Allah send you to test me? Why do I have to deal with you? What's wrong with you? Why can't you just be like the others? Now I want you to think for a moment, what identity does your child now take from this? I am difficult. I am challenging. Allah made me bad. I'm not a good child like my siblings. If your child thinks this as they grow up, who will they become? How would their life turn out? Will you be raising a nightmare or a dream come true? So you see, my sister, your child is a reflection of your thoughts. If your fears dominate your subconscious mind, you will end up influencing your child by your fears. If you take control, and this is how I help my clients, I teach them to take control of their mind so that they can create results that they want instead. They create the dreams that they have instead of accidentally creating their fears. This is a very, very important foundational lesson that I teach inside the Happy Home School of Parenting. I teach you why you're getting the results you are and how to take control of your results and turn them around. So let's do a quick exercise. Think of the one child that you struggle with the most. What is your worst fear about who they are and who they are becoming? Just stop and write what comes to your mind. Don't think about what the answer should be. Just write from the heart and see what you see. What do you see? Now think about why you think that. What are the signs that you see in your child? Do you see that they are becoming that more and more? You might have even heard them say at some point, well, this is who I am. I have heard countless adults say to me, well, yes, this is my struggle. My mum always told me that this is who I would become. Or, yes, I became what my mum told me I would become. How many times have you heard adults say that? Even for yourself, what do you remember your parents or family saying about you? And can you see how that became you? That became your personality, your character, or your struggle? Now, I want you to think of your greatest dream for your child. Who would you love for them to become? Take a moment and write it down. You might find that it's hard to think of. Probably because you've spent most of the last few years thinking about your fears and not your dreams. How often have you thought about your dreams compared to your fears? How often have you told your child about this, that these are your dreams for them? Or does your child hear more about your fears than your dreams? And I can tell you that fear probably dominates your mind, my sister. It's the default for many of us, and that is the problem. Unless we intervene, we become consumed by our fears and we lose sight of our dreams. We let go, we give up, and we lose hope. And I want to say to you, my sister, it is not that your dreams are not possible. It's simply because you haven't taken control of your mind. You need to take control of your mind, change your default, and start creating your dreams instead. When we talk about changing ourselves, or change starting with the mother, this is what we really do. This is exactly what I told my old friend this week about how I raised my children to become who they are today. Alhamdulillah, I took control of my mind and my parenting. I didn't leave my fears to materialize. I took control and changed our trajectory as a family. This is exactly the same process I take with the committed mothers that I work with through. They learn how to actually make their dreams come true and change the trajectory of the way their child is growing up. You too can turn your angry child into a calm, happy child. You can turn around the distance between you and your child and become closer than you can ever imagine. Only this week, one of my clients messaged me to say, Amina, it finally happened. My daughter came to hug me on her own accord without me coaxing her or pressurizing her to hug me. She came by herself and hugged me for the first time in years. Now, bearing in mind this child didn't want her mother to even touch her for years, and at times she even used to hit her mother when she got angry. So imagine what is possible for you. You need to know, my sister, that it's not too late to undo the damage of your own anger and harsh parenting on your child to create the foundations that your child needed from you. You can change your challenging child into your softest, sweetest child. You can help your child who struggles with life become strong and resilient and reliant upon Allah for strength. This is the process I take my clients on. I wish I could give it all away in the podcast, but it really takes going through the process, finding out what's going on for you, what's dominating your mind, and tailoring the solutions to you and how your child is reacting. What's your history been, and where do you want to get to? Even when it comes to managing our mind, understanding your obstacles, whether that's with your in-laws, your husbands, your high standards of perfections, or your own struggles with fear, anxiety, and stress, means that we can tailor the solution to your needs. So if you're listening to this podcast and as a committed Muslim mother want to create a close relationship with your children and you want my professional help to manage your mind and turn around your parenting, then let's have a chat. Book a sales consultation to find out about coaching with me. You can book here www.meetme.so/happy_home. All lowercase. You will love how quickly you see results in your child and how easy the process of change really is. If you're a committed Muslim mother, then this is the training you need to create your dreams. Because unless we take control, we end up creating our worst nightmares. I'll leave you there. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum.